birth room reveals more than you think. There is something I have seen again and again in the birth room. Birth does not only reveal something about a woman, sometimes it reveals something about the man standing beside her. Not because one difficult moment can tell you everything about a relationship, and not because anyone behaves perfectly under stress. But birth is a very unusual kind of pressure. There is nowhere to hide. A woman may be exhausted, frightened, in pain, exposed, and vulnerable. She may not be able to take care of anyone else's feelings. And suddenly, the relationship is stripped down to something very simple. What happens when she needs him? I have seen beautiful answers to that question, and I have seen heartbreaking ones. There was a woman in labor. She had been coping well for hours, but slowly the contraction became stronger. She stopped talking. She was tired. And then came a contraction that frightened her. She reached for her partner. Not dramatically, she simply reached out her hand. And he took it. He did not tell her what to do. He did not say, "Calm down." He did not look uncomfortable because she was crying. He moved closer. She squeezed his hand so hard his knuckles went white. And he stayed. When the contraction finished, she looked at him and said, "I'm sorry." And he looked almost confused. "Sorry for what?" "For squeezing you." And he smiled. "You can break my hand if you need to." It was such a small moment, but I remember it because she was the most vulnerable, and he did not make her vulnerability into a problem. He did not need her to be easier. He simply stayed beside her. And then there are other rooms. A woman is contracting. She is frightened. She asks her partner, "Can you come here?" And he says, "What do you want me to do?" She asks again, "Just stay with me." But he is uncomfortable. Maybe he feels helpless. Maybe he's scared himself. And instead of moving toward her, he moves away. He looks at his phone. He becomes irritated. He tells her she is panicking too much. "You said you didn't want an epidural," or "You need to listen to them." Sometimes he starts arguing with her. Sometimes he answers questions for her. Sometimes he becomes angry because the birth is taking too long. And sometimes the woman lying in that bed starts doing something extraordinary. She begins taking care of him while she is in labor. She says, "Sorry, are you okay? You can go home if you're tired. I'm fine." And then when I see that, I sometimes wonder, how many times has she done this before? How often does she become the caregiver when she is the one who needs care. Psychologically, crisis can magnify relationship patterns. When people are stressed, exhausted, or frightened, they have less capacity for carefully managed behavior. Our usual social filters become thinner. Old coping patterns may become more visible. One becomes calm and protective. Another becomes controlling. One tolerates their partner's distress. Another needs the distress to stop because they cannot tolerate it. This does not mean one birth predicts an entire marriage. People can have bad moments. Partners can freeze because they are frightened. They may not know what to do. And they can learn. But sometimes birth gives us a glimpse of something that has already been there for years. There is one distinction I think matters enormously. A supportive partner does not have to know how to fix labor. He cannot. He cannot take the contractions away. He cannot open the cervix. He cannot guarantee that everything will go according to plan. His job is not to fix the experience. His job is to be able to stay in the experience with her. That is different. Can he see her afraid without becoming angry? Can he see her in pain without needing to escape? Can he listen when she changes her mind? Can he support a decision that is different from the plan they made at home? Can he protect her dignity when she is at her most exposed? Can he let her moment be about her? Those are not just birth questions, they are relationship questions. Because life after the birth will contain other crises. There will be nights when the baby has cried for 3 hours. There may be breastfeeding difficulties, sleep deprivation, illness, money worries, arguments, children who struggle, career changes, loss, aging parents. And there will be moments when one partner simply cannot carry their usual share. The question becomes the same. What happens when the person you love is not easy to be with? That may be one of the deepest tests of a relationship. Not romance, no holidays, no Instagram photos, but who are you when the person beside you is scared, exhausted, overwhelmed, and needs more from you than usual? I remember another birth. The woman became frightened during pushing. She kept saying, I can't. Her partner was sitting beside her. He looked frightened too. You could see it. You could feel it. His eyes were wet. He did not know what was going to happen. But every time she looked at him, his face changed. He became steady. Not because he wasn't scared, but because he understood something important. This was not the moment for her to carry his fear as well. He put his forehead against hers and he said, you don't have to be brave for me. That sentence stayed with me because that may be one of the greatest gifts we can give someone we love. You don't have to perform strength for me. You don't have to take care of me while you're falling apart. I can stay. And sometimes the opposite happens. A woman realizes something during the birth that she may not have had words for before. She realizes when I'm vulnerable, I feel alone beside this person. Or when I lose control, he becomes angry. Or when I say no, he does not hear me. Those realizations can hurt, especially because birth is supposed to be one of the most intimate moments of couple's life. But intimacy is not created simply because two people are physically in the same room. Intimacy is created when vulnerability is met with safety. There is also something important we should say about men. Partners are not machines. Birth can be frightening for them too. They can feel powerless. They can be traumatized. Some freeze, some become quiet. Some need guidance because nobody has ever taught them what useful support actually looks like. A moment of uncertainty does not make someone a bad partner. The important thing is the pattern. When he does not know what to do, does he become curious? Tell me what you need. Or does he make her responsible for his discomfort? When something changes, can he adapt? When she says no, does he respect it? When she's afraid, can he remain kind? That is where the difference often becomes visible. And maybe that is why the bathroom can feel like such an honest place. There is very little performance left. People are tired, afraid, overwhelmed. And love becomes less about what someone says and more about what they do. Does he move closer? Does he listen? Does he protect her? Does he make room for her fear? Does he stay? So, if you are preparing for birth with your partner, perhaps there is a conversation worth having before you ever enter the hospital. Not only what pain relief do we want, who cuts the cord, what music should we play, but what happens when I'm scared? What do I need from you when I cannot think clearly? How will you respond if I change my mind? Can you advocate for me without speaking over me? What will you do with your own fear so I don't have to carry it too? Those conversations may matter far more than the perfect birth plan because birth does not require a perfect partner. It requires a present one. And sometimes in the bathroom, you see something incredibly beautiful. A woman at the edge of what she thinks she can bear, and beside her, someone quietly saying, "You don't have to do this alone." And sometimes you see something painful. A woman who is already carrying labor, beginning to carry the emotional weight of the person beside her too. One moment cannot predict an entire future, but moments of vulnerability can reveal patterns worth paying attention to. Because the real question is not how romantic is he when life is easy. It may be who does he become when I need him most.